gonna go live, and I think this will more than likely end up being today and tomorrow. It may go into Wednesday too, because virtual summits are not like, you just can't zip them up nicely in an hour. So big picture wise, we can, but depending on your questions, we will extend it as we need to. So if we don't get to everything today, don't worry about it. We will pick up wherever we leave off. But as normal, if you guys have any questions, just ask me. And because these really are situation specific. Virtual summit is like saying, hey, here's an apple, and there's like thousands of varieties of apples. So they're a nice generic container, but they are completely decision driven according to your North Pole to New York City, and as you'll see, the variety of factors that are going through. So as always, we're starting with step number 1, which is our North Pole to New York City. So why are we doing this? So our North Pole, remember, is our reed magnet, because these are cold traffic. Nobody knows who we are, cold traffic. Lead magnet, this is where they opt in. So the summit could live as a lead magnet. Next, after our lead magnet, is our intro offer. So this is often referred to as your tripwire. I also call it a lily pad offer for those people that need a little bit of help moving along in terms of buying. And the summit, if it's paid, can also live in this position. And then, as we know, our New York City is our core offer, typically a higher price, but that's where we want them to land. So as we are setting up using Kajabi for a virtual summit, getting people from cold traffic, North Pole, all the way through to New York City, where they spend money as fast as possible, we just need to know what position the summit is playing. So that is step number 2. The summit can live as a lead magnet or an intro offer. Can live in either position. So if we put our trusty barriers in place so that we know where people are going, we can say, yep, I want to use the summit as list building. It's an opt-in, then it is in my lead magnet position. If I'm charging any sort of money, then I have vetted them as a buyer. That then moves into an intro offer. So either one is fine, but you have to know what position that it's serving. So we're going to actually have to use some numbers on this one. For 2A, example 2A, we're going to go through the lead magnet option first. And as you're thinking about this as a lead magnet, summit by definition is much more than one piece of content in one person. So as you're thinking about using this as a lead magnet, what is the purpose? All right. This, like anything that you're building out, is a crap ton of work. And the more seamless it comes off for your participants, the more work you put in behind the scenes, getting all the pieces hooked up and making sure that it is seamless. So you've got to know, what is my purpose? And when I'm bringing in other people, I think right now I'm seeing 2 or 3 summits with like 20 plus people swirling around good old Facebook ad land at the moment. You have to think about, okay, what is yours in terms of purpose, and what is it for your guests? All right. Just like when any of us are listening to the latest thing, the latest miracle, grow your business, whether it be a challenge or a quiz or a virtual summit or whatever else might be swirling on the good old internet waves. Why am I doing this? Where does it fit? And where am I leading people? So if I'm using it as a lead magnet here, then we're going to have to say, put a line in here, what is it that they're buying after? Okay. Because if I'm using it, oh, Amanda had a great question. What is a virtual summit?
I know what this is.
Virtual summit. Thank you. Thank you for not letting me get too far along. A virtual summit is usually best described as a huge conglomeration, 10 to 30 people, all over the course of typically 2 to 3 days, could be longer. So it's a number of people over a fixed portion of time delivering content. So you have all of these different experts. So right now there's one, it's Rise something. It's Marie Forleo, Todd Herman, Jenna Kutcher, Amy Porterfield, who, like, there's 20 of them. So it's all these people. And then you have the element of time. So it's a fixed amount of time. And they're all delivering a piece of content. So it's bringing all of these people together. You're picking out different experts. I am, years ago, was often involved in these because I was the lawyer that came in, and whatever the topic of, like, what really everyone was talking about, marketing or setting up an online course, I was the expert that would say, okay, now here's all the legalities that none of you are thinking about. And so I would come in, talk for 30 minutes to an hour on the complementary legal situations that they didn't know were, obviously that was my area of expertise. So when you're hosting a virtual summit, if I'm using it for purposes of list building, I'm building up my list. Whoever is the host, because we're going to talk about why you don't share email lists when the signups are going. When people are opting in to join the summit, you're building up your list. Okay, so when you're using it as a lead magnet, largely its main purpose is to build the email list. There's also a summit going on right now that one of my friends was a part of, and there was no opt-in. Okay, so when there's no opt-in, then it's your North Pole. They're running it on Facebook Live. They're not getting email addresses, so they put it in the functional piece of their North Pole to New York City as help, as getting people interested. A blog, a vlog, a YouTube channel, or a summit with no opt-in. Does that answer your question, Amanda?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a workshop, but you're bringing in more people, but you're not really charging for it. It's just kind of a free little workshop.
You're charging for it if it's in your intro offer position.
Okay, so it just depends on where you put it.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. And as we talk through this, one of the reasons that Kajabi, it works so brilliantly well for hosting a summit is if you use it the way I'm going to show you how to set it up, which is the easiest way to set it up, when you're putting the content into a product, then you can sell it afterwards. So there's ways to use it as your lead magnet and provide an upgrade for access to the replays for X amount of time so that it's also working as your intro offer.
Okay, so it's kind of like if you did something in Zoom, but you can actually now put it into your product.
Yeah.
I mean, is that how we're going to use it, is in Zoom, like a webinar?
Yeah, I'm going to show you. There's just like, we've been talking about how many ways can I get to 12? 1 plus 11, 6 plus 2, 24 divided by 2, 3 times 4. You can set this up in truly exactly the way that serves your purpose the best.
Okay.
When we know where it fits as North Pole to New York City, and this is where if you Google anything like how to host a virtual summit, what it typically leaves off is the purpose portion and the intentional designing piece. And it's so much work. So people, what I've seen happen over and over and over again is they put so much work into this, but they didn't know what is their North Pole to New York City, what's their purpose, what's their guest's purpose, and they could have accomplished exactly the same thing, but putting different pieces in place as part of the setup. Then they could have leveraged it to truly convert the sales and build the long-term relationship. So it is not black and white, because each different piece, what you're trying to accomplish putting together or being a part of one. I am rarely a part of one anymore, because most often it's attracting freebie purchasers, and it's for markets that really aren't going to buy from me anyhow, or I don't want to sell to any longer. So I rarely will say yes to being a part of someone's free virtual summit, because it's not a good use of my time for where I am right now. It's not a black and white. I mean, it's not a, absolute decision, but when I look at how the summit is set up, I can really see the flaws in it from the guest perspective. And then that's how I make my decisions. So a really good way to help people to say yes to being part of yours is, as I'm taking you through all these steps, is showing them how what you're providing is really all about them, is really an opportunity for them. And so there's ways to do that so that you can get great quality, high caliber, engaging, really great people that want to be a part of what it is you're putting together. Does that answer your question? Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me see if I have any other questions that I should touch on right now. Is there a good number for the number of guests to have on a summit? Nope. As we're walking through this, you'll see it's completely creating the experience. You could have 50 people, and if it was set up well and everything was complementing and enhancing the purpose, it would be fantastic. You could also have a summit with 50 people that it was like being in the middle of a lotto ball experience, where there's just random things flying all over the place a zillion miles an hour, and your participants leave and go, what the heck was that? Like, whew, that was just not any fun. So it really, that's the nice piece, is there's no, you need this many people and you need this much content, and you need this much whatever. As we work through the building block pieces, you should be able to make those decisions in such a way that it makes ideal sense for what you are setting up. All right. Okay, so thank you for asking, Amanda. I just jumped right over that definition. Okay, come here, pen. Just bubble this in, so it stays out of my way. There we go. So if we're using it as our lead magnet piece, and we're putting it into place for that, because we're going to go through different ones, then as let's put a line in here. There we go. So people see you, as part of the North Pole. They read a blog, they see a Facebook ad, like whatever it might be, they're finding you. Then they obviously need to fill out a form. Okay, so this is our form that is on a page. When they're doing that, this is when they're opting in. Okay, so that is your lead magnet portion right there. Then what I recommend, and we're going to do all the different pieces, because if you want to resell the content or sell access to it, if you want to leverage it going forward, we're going to blend it together with, you guys know what my favorite is, free product strategy. Okay, it works brilliantly when it's used in conjunction with Virtual Summit. And if you didn't hear us talking about free product strategy, we talked about it yesterday a lot as part of the free book as your lead magnet. So I'll make sure to make sure you guys have the link on that one, but works so well. Then after they submit, you're going to have your thank you page. Okay. The thank you is telling them, yep, you're confirmed. Here's, you know, what happens next. That's the first thing that they see. And big picture, because there's lots of ways to make this happen, we are going to make sure that they get access to the free product strategy. So they're going to get access to a product, which is where I'm going to store the content, because summits are very often logistical puzzles. You have all these people speaking and they're at set times so that I can give somebody a schedule. At 9 a.m. is this, at 10 a.m. is this, at 11 a.m. is this, at noon is this, at 1 is this. So you have these set times and you're trying to run the calls. Like the logistical piece is something that you have to keep in mind. So we're going to go through, there's different ways to use the content. It does, on a spectrum, we're going to have everything from pre-recorded, dripping out, to live engagement and interactions in teaching. So imagine a spectrum. All of these are available choices, everything from a pre-recorded and live interactions, and my personal favorite, which is doing hybrids, so that I'm getting the best of both worlds, because the more robust and engaging and fun and interactive that your experience is that you're creating, the better it's going to convert, the better it's going to serve the purpose that you want it to serve, and that is going to serve the purpose of your guests. So your content, we can, and I'm going to just list them out right here. We'll go through them in together. So we can use drip. We have from products, we have the availability of announcements. You have, obviously, you can send emails. You can do email broadcasts. You can do email sequences. We can use events, because events have their own emails. And we can use my personal favorite, published versus draft, on categories and subcategories. Okay, so inside the product, we can have all of this content. Now, the really cool part in the content portion is, I don't know how many of you guys have been on a summit, but the ones that I really cannot stand are when the person starts talking at 9, and from 9 to 9:20 is me having to listen to their bio. I just wanted to hear what it is you had to teach me. But I get it. It's hard to learn from someone if you have no idea who they are, you have no idea what their credentials are. It's one way that if you combine Kajabi, Summit, and free product strategy is you can set a category inside the product that is all the meet the instructors. You can put all their bios, all the links to their media pages. They can send you a video that where you know, introducing yourself to the people. So all of the bios, links, you know, meet me, all of that type stuff just goes in a category inside the product. So now you're not using up any of people's attention on your summit. Because imagine 50 speakers, if 1/3 of all of their time is spent them talking about their bio stuff, which is very normal, sometimes it's even half, think of all that time that you have not maximized. You've spent where it could have just been a pre-recorded video, so that the people that want to know that stuff, happy as a clam, they can press play and watch it. The people like myself that cannot stand it and will never, like, I will click out of that summit and I'll never to return again. You've also enhanced the experience for them. So to me, it's a win-win when I'm putting it into a product, because I can put all the extra stuff that goes in there. So that's, and yes, we can have pre-recorded. You can do an entirely like pre-recorded summit, and you can do live. So I like the hybrid. I'm only going to talk about Zoom. Feel free to use whatever tool you want. If you want, you own another webinar platform and you want to use that, absolutely. But I think so many people use Zoom, have Zoom. It works great. So Zoom, you can have the regular Zoom like this, where I can see all of you. You can all ask me questions. I can access the chat. Like it really is going back and forth. No, Amanda, it's the same exact product. So inside the product, let's just put a picture over here. So here's our product, and we're going to do category 1, welcome. Category 2, meet the speakers. Category 3, topics. And then each post is that speaker. Okay, so it's all in the same product. We are just using it to accomplish our welcome, accomplish meet the speakers, and accomplish the topics. Now, just like always, the beauty of Kajabi, we can do whatever we want. The beast of Kajabi, we can do whatever we want. So I can also set this up alternatively. Let's say category 2, we'll do it this way. Let's say category, we're going to keep it even. Sorry, we're going to keep it even. This is speakers as a category. Then I can use subcategories to have the speaker's bio and their lesson. So I could also organize it by, here's the topics, legal. And then, so topics is a category, legal is a subcategory. And within that subcategory, there's a post. Meet Tamsin Horton. Here's her bio. Listen to Tamsin's speech. That's another post. So you can organize it in whatever way is going to be best for your audience. Okay. Beauty of the product. The other beauty of the product, where is my phone? Maybe we'll tap into this right now. Virtual summit, lots of speakers at different times. When it's as a product, we can access it via the mobile app. So you get to take advantage of having your entire summit at their fingertips. And when you're using, if you want to like maintain timing of it, this part does have to be manual, but the amount of effort it is so minimal compared to other setups. Let's say I'm the VA and I'm running someone's virtual summit, and this content is going out, at a certain time, and then I want to turn it off at a certain time. You just use the published and the draft portion on a category to handle that. Is it manual work? Yes, but does it give you complete control? Absolutely. So you do not have to be fighting any kind of automations that you might have going on. And for Zoom, that you can use regular, that's my preference. I choose that, which is not everybody's preference, because I want you to ask me a question in real time. I don't prefer the webinar feature where it's just speaking out at people. I prefer back and forth. So when I know what I prefer and I know what my audience likes, that's how I made my decision. So I haven't used a webinar platform in probably 6 years. So I just use regular Zoom.
But when you're talking about products, we have 5 products that we have access to. One is our freebie product, and then the others are money-making, course-making products. Where does this line is this going to be like P3? Is this its own, this virtual summit? Is it its own standalone product? Or do you use it in junction with like your freebie product and just turn it on and turn it off? Or how do you, that's what I mean by
totally
what product are we putting this in?
Totally up to you and the purpose of your business. So
the purpose maybe of the summit.
Exactly. So when you're setting this up, like we said, first thing, what's your North Pole to New York City? A summit is not something you wake up one morning, especially as a new business. As a mature business, I would have different answers. So people that are expanding or are offering this, and I would put myself in that category. I could wake up one morning and say, oh, I think I'm going to do a virtual summit on this, and this is the purpose. I could, because I'm definitely in the mature business category. But I would definitely make sure, quick idea. First thing, is it a lead magnet for me, or is it an intro offer? What is the purpose that I'm doing this for? I already have North Pole and New York cities that are all flying, different runways that are already going. So when you decide, hey, I want to use this virtual summit, am I doing it for list building? Then it's my lead magnet. Then I would say, okay, I'm using my free product here, matches up with I'm using that product because it is my lead magnet. Again, I'm not going to use this once. This is a lot of work. This is coordinating a lot of people. There's a lot of legal involved in this. So setting it up, putting it together, and then using it, you have to know what purpose it's serving.
And do you have all the legal on your PBK website that we can refer to later?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like, yes. No, when we get to it, I'll show you guys where it is. And that's where, like when people are setting this up, why I had to move, instead of selling all my products individually, why I then just created PBK. Because as you make decisions like, oh, I'm going to do this, you're like, great. Do you have a guest contributor agreement? Do you have copyright release? Do you have all these pieces? And people would look at me and go, no. Do I need that? I'm like, yeah, yep. You're kind of distributing and selling other people's content. And a lot of people like to turn this into an affiliate. Like there's lots of layers for this one. Like this is not, thank you, Dora. Dora said, great legal stuff with PBK, big value. Yes, you're so welcome. Because really, I geek out. I love legal. I absolutely do. But I love entrepreneurs and I love Kajabi. You can't do any of it without the other. Like you just can't. You can. You absolutely can.
Makes me feel confident.
You will pay. When I very first started, total side note, when I first started back in 2011, all I did was legal cleanup behind the scenes. When I say people pay me 10 times more for cleanup than proactive, I am not kidding. Like when they goof this up, one, you'll never hear them talk about it because it's not something you want to air like, oh, I royally effed this up. So it's not going to, but it happens. And trying to clean up after the end is so expensive. Well, that just didn't fit with my personality because I'm like, okay, but if you guys had just called me like a week earlier, we could have taken a couple contracts and like none of this would have been an issue. And so that's when like myself, your business starts growing up, you start refining. I had to go on the front end. So, oh, look at that. Potential spam. See ya. But yes, all the legal for anything that involves your business is all part of PBK, for sure.
And it is good.
Thank you, Dora.
I'm so grateful because just trying to take what you taught on email sequencing, I'm already confused with the email sequencing. So I can't imagine like, oh, what's the legal behind this?
And can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I just wanted to add in that it is confusing, but the light bulbs will go on, when you move through, and really having that legal, it's great because I don't like doing stuff like that. And it was actually, it made me feel so good to get those pieces in. because as Tamsin says, you do them once. That's it.
Mhm.
And she gives you all you need.
So is the legal something that you have a link to, like in Trello, so that we don't goof it up from the
There's a lot.
beginning, or you're?
Yep,
I
it's
want to be a good pupil. I don't want to goof. I don't want to. I want to be on the front end, not on the back end. We're going like, OMG! I wish you would have called me last week.
no. And Dora can attest to this. PBK, we start at the beginning. You work as long as you don't try to skip around from the order I'm giving you, you are fine. If you are like my husband, who has the attention span of a gnat when it comes to my content, and he's like, well, no, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, what are you doing over there? And he's like, well, I didn't want to do that. I'm like, dude, you're like my worst person. It's all laid out. And so if you're going in the order that I know you need to go in, you're absolutely fine. The other part is because, like you guys have heard, PBK is such a mastermind group that rarely everyone asks me as they're building something new. They ask on one of our live calls. They ask in the group, hey, Tamsin, I want to set this up. Where do I need to start? And so if it is out of the ordinary, then I just point you in the right direction. So it's very, I haven't in the last few years for sure. I don't suddenly see someone 6 months later where they've set it up wrong. Like it just doesn't happen because nobody is quiet for 6 months. They're asking me way at the beginning, like, because it happens with, I want to do this. What would my North Pole to New York City look like? So we start at the same place every single time. Doesn't change. Never does. And it doesn't change for anybody's business. Like take any course you've ever done, any mastermind you've ever done. At some point, they're talking about your lead magnets. At some point, they're talking about your lead magnets, your intros, and your New York City offers. Marketing layers in over that, visibility layers in over that, your content layers in, but those are really our 4 main buckets. So it's also a really easy way, and when you're trying to take things that you've learned from various places, when you know where to put them into the right bucket. We good so far? Okay, so I'm going to come back to our Zoom options because you have, this is obviously the live. Oops, let's get our pen back. This is our live, our engagements, our interactions. So when we're doing the lives, we have regular version, webinar version. They serve different purposes. So based on what you want to provide, that is how you will know which one to choose and which one to use. You also have breakout rooms, which are fantastic. Love them in Zoom. And we can do Zoom, can also live stream, which you guys know because I'm using it right now. I can live stream to Facebook, Workplace for Facebook, or YouTube. So again, depending on what the purpose of my summit is, if it was a North Pole, then live streaming to YouTube and Facebook might be a fabulous thing to be doing. If it was, I need your email address first, then maybe I live stream 2 of the 20 pieces of the summit to use those 2 to entice people to then provide their name and email. If I'm using it as a paid offering, probably not going to want to just live stream it because that's going to tick off the people that are buying. But we have all those different pieces. Now, one thing that I quickly learned is that you have the time of speakers, and then you have your after speakers. And the reason for this, and this is not every speaker and it's not every niche, it's not a blanket. When people hear legal, they don't have questions the first time they listen to me. They have questions 2 weeks later when they've had time to realize, uh-oh, that is often the case when you're dealing with legal or financial or something that is intricate. So another way that you can, again, provide an incredible experience as your virtual summit is I would show up and I would be at the summit, but I knew to offer to the event organizer, hey, they're going to have questions, but they're not going to have questions when they hear me. They're going to have questions a month from now. So a month from now, let's set a time and I will come back on a live Zoom call and I will answer the questions. Well, this just, every event organizer was always so thankful and so appreciative and was like, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. What it gives you is the ability to convert the sales. So you've extended it. It's not just this, wham bam 2-day thing or 3-day thing that you ran. There are times that offering an after or a follow-up experience, it builds the know, like, and trust factor. It sets you apart because rarely do people do it. And for some content, you're really going to get the value out of whoever that was because of whatever they were talking about. So Zoom lets us do all of those pieces. So that's why it's my favorite platform when I'm doing it that way. Questions on anything Zoom, like the live interaction portion? Nope. Alrighty. We're gonna add.
Actually, I do, Tamsin.
Yeah.
Is the on the I guess it's the lowest paid Zoom. Do you get breakout rooms on that one?
You sure do.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, on the 15 a month, you get the breakout rooms, and they work so very well. In fact, Dora, I'll tag you because we did a training on it in PBK like probably 2 weeks ago now, because it was right as we all started to go into lockdown. But they work so well, and depending on how you were using it, to be able to break people out into different areas to discuss, because anytime, and again, it depends on the purpose it is for you, the purpose it is for your guests, and that showing up to a webinar with 500 or 1,000 or 5,000 of my closest friends, I don't get a lot of personalized stuff going on. You run a summit and you're like, okay, at this time, we're going to have 6 breakout rooms, and you can choose which speaker you'd like to go into a room with and ask questions. You can really start to bring your group size down so that people feel seen, feel heard, have that personalized attention. And again, coupled with what is it that you're providing? What are you selling? It's not always feasible, but more often, especially when you're using it as list building, as leading to paid products, breakout rooms can really help you leverage that portion of it. So they work. I love them. Absolutely love breakout rooms. Okay, we're going to get a different sheet of paper. So I want to go through, before we finish up today, I just want to get through if I'm using this as some portion of it is paid. So let's put our North Pole back on here, North Pole to New York City. Intro, New York City. So we're using our summit as the lead magnet, but we're also going to do paid access. And typically it's for a fixed amount of time. So an example might be you can attend the summit free. So this is free while it's going on live. Okay. They can show up, they can watch free, but there's no access to a recording. Like, it's show up, see it, or be done. So an example is I could pay $100 to all the replay for, say, 30 days. So this is where, when I'm putting it into the product here, all my content, I can sell the product. Now, I could also, if I was using this as free product strategy, I could have access for 48 hours. So that same product with a different offer, because we know our good old offers, which I think I did in pink here. Offer. That's a different offer. Just by putting it in a different baggie, using our baggie example that we've talked about before, the content is in the same location. Using offers allows, oh, you only had the free version? Great. You have access. The offer that you use is going to revoke after 2 days. Great. You purchased it for $100. Your access will revoke after 30 days. So taking advantage of all of our header menus, all of our product sidebars, all of the stuff that's inside of a product allows us to do that. So when we're using it as a paid version, so the summit has an aspect of people paying money. Now we're using offers to make that happen. And the nice thing is you can also, which a lot of people will do this because they want to use, take advantage of the 20 people that are there. And again, this is where you've got to think through it because there are so many legalities, but big picture wise, simplest version, yes, you can give affiliate percentage on the sales. So like I said, it's a complex, it can be incredibly complex depending on what function it's serving as your North Pole to New York City, but you don't have to do everything at the same time at all. You could keep it very simple and you can also make it very complex. All right, let's see. Got any questions? Dora, I'm not sure what you're talking about on the tagging you. You're on mute.
Yeah, mouse issue. You said you're going to tag me, so where's that go? Not really clear on tag yet.
In the Facebook group, you should just get a notification that says, like, I'll just tag your name.
So that's how it connects.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. No problem. No problem. All right. So I'm going to put, we will just go through. Let's see. No, you know what? We will start with legal stuff tomorrow. Okay. And I'll go through the legal pieces. And if we need to roll it into Wednesday, we will, because then we'll go and do all the Kajabi buttons too. But we have a plumber that's coming. So I know that I'm going to have to wrap it up before said plumber comes knocking on my door right around 1 o'clock. So you guys have questions on any of this stuff that we went through today?
I just put a question up there earlier. It's not exactly this pathway, but in the reverse, I am a speaker in an upcoming summit. I was interviewed. So what I'll want to know is how to take that and use it to lead people to watch that, and ultimately to tie back into my my New York City to North Pole single runway that I have, because the topic is related to what I'm going to produce in my runway.
Gotcha. So let's do this. Okay, so let's do this as a speaker. So I'm gonna write this up here. Your then we're gonna have the summit, and you may not know, how it's set up. You just take your best guess. Are people opting in to the summit?
Yes, it's
Okay.
a summit that's been rolling for I think this will be the 4th year. So it has an audience,
Gotcha.
pretty big audience.
Okay. And do they charge for replays, or is it just a
Yes.
lead magnet? Okay. And do you get affiliate commissions if you share your link and people buy from your link?
I think that is true. I haven't been on this side of it before, but I
Gotcha.
believe that is true.
Okay. All right. So when you provide your content, did they ask you to provide like the URL for people to go if they want more information from you?
Yes.
Okay. So when they do that, what you do is you provide the URL to get them to your front door. So whatever your front door is, that's the URL that you provide to the summit when you're part of it. So when you say, okay, here's their summit right here. This is their pathway that they've set up. And now I'm a part of it. Okay. I decided to be a part of it. Great. I can share my front door here, knowing that my front door is all my processes are turned on, so that I've basically just created a new on-ramp for the people from this summit. So that's where knowing you're North Pole to New York City, so that when you are a part of things, when you do a guest anywhere, like wherever you are, you're sending people straight to the front door that you want them to go into.
Okay, so I think what I need to do is provide them a very specific link to get them right to the lead magnet of filling out the questionnaire, because we do talk about that versus just giving, because we already recorded it. So we put the website, but I guess I could give them like the whole address to get exactly to that.
Yep. And if you can't, if they say, nope, sorry, we've already put that everywhere, we can't take it out, what you can do is, so you go, okay, they can't, I gave them my domain.com. Okay, so my main thing, but I know that for the purposes of this summit, that might be confusing. So on your site, either in your header bar, in the announcement feature that you can add to both sites and pages, you could add a hero block, again, sites or pages. So the hero would have a CTA. All of this, you can have something like whatever the name of the summit is. So name of summit, participants, click here. So you're making it very easy. You don't need to rebuild your pages. You don't need to rebuild your site, but to say, oh, Tamsin, why didn't you talk about this, 2 months ago? Because I could have put it all in place. Not a big deal. We love Kajabi. You say, perfect. I know that I need to send these people from the summit straight to this page. If other random people wander in through the door, doesn't really matter, because I'm going to just get everybody's name and emails from myself. Because when they opt in from the summit person, those emails are not yours, and they should not be sharing those with any of their guests. They do, but they should not be doing so, unless they have legal very, very, very tightly zipped up. And I personally have not seen any opt-in organizer be that legally zipped up. There's too much there's too much privacy laws involved. So that's what I would do. I would add an announcement. I would put something in my header. I would add a block to whatever page you gave them. Then just make an easy way for them to find where you want them to go, versus them arriving at your site page or your standalone page that you're using as a site page and having them wander around and hoping they find the right spot. So you're just going to play traffic cop. Oh, thank you so much. You click here. Then after, whatever period of time that you're like, you know what, the summit's done. They're not promoting it any longer. Maybe I'll leave it up another 90 days, but then I'll set myself a reminder in Google to go in and just take that off of my page or turn it off. So it's a very easy fix or modifier to still maximize the benefit to you and make a really nice experience for people that are trying to connect with you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You are so welcome. So welcome. Okay, so tomorrow we will start off with legal and any questions that come up that you guys might have. But thank you.